Thanks for staying with us here on SA Tonight on eNCA. It was the big story of the week. Government allocating 30 billion rand to Denel, Sanral and Transnet in the current fiscal cycle. The Finance Minister also announced plans to provide debt relief to Eskom to address the utilities' liquidity challenges. Let's unpack some of these important developments with economist and public finance specialist Dr. Nombeko Mbava, who joins us virtually from Cape Town. Dr. Mbava, thank you so much for your time this evening. You obviously have gone through this medium-term budget speech quite closely, but the news of that bailout, I suppose one could call it, is something that really got people's attention, with many perhaps saying, why are you flushing money down the toilet? Do you believe this is the right move by our Treasury team, by our fiscus team, or were they just, did they find themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place and they had to do this?
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Marcel, and good evening to the viewers. Government obviously had a primary budget surplus, or actually got more funds due to their commodity cycle. And so government made decision that they will use the windfall primarily to close the gaps in SOEs and also in service delivery areas. So some of the windfall is going to go to Sanral, obviously to pay the government guarantees, and the other money is going to go to the other state-owned entities. Essentially, this means that we are still bailing out state-owned entities, in spite of the fact that government has made a decision that from now on, there will be conditions attached to these payments. And the problem is that state-owned entities are really failing in terms of their financial health. They have weak balance sheets, most of them. Their business models are not sustainable. Financially and operationally, they do not actually deliver on the bottom line. And so what has happened now is that Denel has come to government begging again to meet its commitment. And Transnet is going to get money so that they can be able to get some of the locomotives which have been out of service for a while to be used now. So these are things that these state-owned entities should be able themselves to do. But because they are not well run, they are inefficient, this is becoming a problem. So what is happening now is that government has to always go back to its contingent reserves to come and bail out these state-owned entities. And it's a problem because this is money that could have been used elsewhere in the economy.
Absolutely. I just spoke to the KZN chairperson of SALGA, who have come out in support of Cabinet announcing that they would officially be rooting out cadre deployment. And that comes as a result of the findings of the Zondo Commission. And they speak there specifically of the rot at municipal level, but indeed also by our state-owned enterprises. How confident are you that we have turned a new leaf here and that this, another bailout, is not just going to be another waste of very, very important money that we really can't waste at this time? Do you believe now that the structures will finally be put in place so that there is real accountability for this kind of bailout?
Well, the minister has promised that now we should expect conditionalities which are attached to the payments that will be made to these state-owned entities. What we would like to see is these conditions should include turnaround plans of how they're going to use the money that they receive, financial statements on a quarterly basis, operational reports. There should be transparency in how these bailouts are being used. So we do believe that it's important that these state-owned entities are saved because some of them, they actually present sort of some constraints to economic growth. So we need them to function well so that our economy can grow. As you can see, the minister said that we can expect our economy to grow by 1.6% next financial year, and in the next 2 years by 1.8% or so. So we still remain at low growth levels, and we need the state-owned entities to actually work and deliver on infrastructure projects for us, because most of the infrastructure projects are implemented by state-owned entities. And if they are failing, it means that those plans will never see the light of day or fruition.
Do you think that there is enough of an understanding how low spend or the wrong spend on infrastructure, what kind of impact it has on our economy? For instance, the failure of Sanral and Transnet has had a debilitating impact on our economy, on our roads, and the list goes on. If your rail lines aren't working, you cannot distribute goods, and you know there are ramifications. The list just goes on and on. Do you think that there's enough of an understanding of how deep the rot goes and how debilitating and crippling it has been to various parts of our economy?
Absolutely, because if the logistics services that are provided by Transnet are not able to function effectively, the economy effectively comes to a standstill. Because the roads network, we need that to work to transport goods across the entire country. So it has an impact on the economic bottom line, on the performance of the economy. So that's why we need them to work effectively. Even the bailout to Eskom that government now is proposing to take over some of that debt is because government is caught between a rock and a hard place. We need to get beyond this energy crisis, and we have to save Eskom for the sake of our economy so that we can have a growing economy. Because if you look at the government guarantees, over 500 billion rand that the government is exposed, 78% of that is Eskom. So Eskom poses a huge risk to the stability of our fiscus. And so we have to make sure that there is stability at Eskom. We save it so that our economy can be on a stable growth path.
Elsewhere in the medium-term budget speech, and this is just in closing, there was also the extension of those all-important social grants. South Africans really are struggling to keep food on the table by this cost of living crisis that has really touched our country deeply. Already a country that's one of the most unequal in the world. How important was that?
I think it's a critical decision that government needs to make. I do feel that government is still dilly-dallying because in the last budget speech, the minister made the same commitment that he will come to a decision. We are still waiting for a decision. We do appreciate that it's a very complex issue. I think the most critical aspect of it is where the money is going to come from. And if we do make a commitment, it needs to be funded somewhere. How is that going to be funded? Are we going to increase the VAT? Are we going to get more debt? We still don't know. And so, but we do welcome the extension for a further year, but I think we need more certainty about the future. So we cannot keep moving the goalpost. We need government to come to the party and be decisive.
Indeed, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your insight. Economist and public finance specialist, Dr. Nombeko Mbava, joining us live there from Cape Town.